Ladies and gentlemen, this is number one in the building. Number one. And we're not going to waste any time because you already know what it is. We're going to get into the analysis of the game. As I said, I've already done the first half analysis of the game. What I can definitely say is, first half, Chelsea was in total control of the game. The only issue was towards the end when Palmeiras started using the wings. And when they started using the wings, they started to figure out, we know where to better penetrate. But now it is second half. Second half, I definitely will say the first probably 10 to 20 minutes, Chelsea was not in control. Chelsea really allowed, and I said this in the first half, that they need to be careful of the flanks. Nevertheless, Palmeiras literally used the flanks. They literally used the flanks, as you can see. And guess what? They ended up scoring a goal through none other than the new Chelsea player that is about to pull up, as in Estavalio Willian. So just so you guys know, right then and there. And actually, it was a fabulous finish. Case in point, I think what happened with Palmeiras is they realized that in the back four, Levi Colwell was the weakest link. So what I noticed is they kept penetrating that side. And you're probably asking me, be more specific. Cool, I'll definitely be more specific. When you look, he was more on the inner side of the left-hand flank. So they took advantage of that left-hand flank and, they deployed their stuff. So after them basically scoring, it became a game again at 1-1. But Chelsea just didn't lie down. After the goal, they started pressing more. And with more of that pressing, it also caused substitutions. And before I get into the substitutions, let us talk about the big presence of the 12th man. You've heard me talk about the 12th man a lot. And in this case, it was the Palmeiras fans. Because after Palmeiras scored, you could really hear the fans roaring. So, shout out to Palmeiras for that. Let us also get into the substitutions. I think the two vital substitutions that did come in the second half was when thing was introduced. Madueke was introduced, and also the debut for João Pedro. I feel like João Pedro did phenomenal. João Pedro made a lot of chances out of nothing. The thing is, you know what you're supposed to do as a striker. And João Pedro, every time he got the ball, his target was, let me get to the goal. Let me even get shots on goal. So unfortunate he didn't get his debut goal, but he was this close scoring, that close. Another thing that I'd also like to talk about that I thought was impressive was Madueke. The minute Madueke came in, oh my gosh, my boy did his thing. And what I mean by that is, when he came in the second half, he was very active. He took shots. Even with his shots, he caused Chelsea to get a lot of corners. Passes into 18. He really brought energy into the game. He was very effective on the wing with his pace and ball control. But unfortunately, he even had a chance to score. But I feel like with Madueke, he's a good player, but he plays too much. If Madueke can stop playing and get serious, I think Madueke could be a very, very serious player for Chelsea. But as it is right now, he needs to get his ish together. I'm going to be honest. Again, as I said, beware of the counterattack. The beautiful thing I would say is, shout out to Andre Santos in the midfield. Andre Santos was able to cut out the attack time and time again. So I would definitely say shout out to him. Another thing I'd also like to call out that I really, really saw is Gusto. Gusto able to come in and doing what he needed to do. First half, Gusto wasn't doing the best. Even in the second half, he was still, but the beautiful thing about it was the fact he had the ability to get the second goal. It just wiped his bad performance. Another thing also too was, if I can quite remember, after that goal, it's just Gusto had that energy, that vim, and I think he made a pass in the 18 to, who was it again? I can't remember. It was either Santos or Madueke or something. Like, it could have been a fine finish, but it didn't end up happening. But honestly, overall, Chelsea, I was really impressed. I was really impressed with especially a lot of the goal line clearances. Robert Sanchez also did his thing. The only thing that I'd say I would definitely call out was the back four. I felt like the back four, their biggest issue was they tried to slow down the pace. And with slowing down the pace, it just made the players on Palmeiras actually make them move faster. And the problem is, the more they move and you're just passing the ball and you're trying to slow it down, that could actually cause an interception. So Chelsea, I really think we need to work on that. Yeah, shout out to Cole Palmer, man. Shout out to Cole Palmer getting his goal early. Like, if you see in the first half, Palmer was really, really hunting for the ball. He was really, really trying to poach. And he eventually did get his goal. And as I said, I like the 1-2 combo between him and Pedro Neto. And not Pedro Neto. Is his first name Neto? Yeah, I'll check that out. Yes, it is Pedro Neto. What I definitely like to say also too is, like, yo, Chelsea is firing on all cylinders. Like, I feel like with Chelsea, the more as these games go on, it's like they push the tempo and they lift the tempo. Doesn't matter what team they're facing, they will make sure that, hey, we come to play. Another thing I also noticed was when Palmeiras actually made a substitution in the 65th minute. It was pretty interesting. Is when they brought in Mauricio and Paulino. And to me, I just kind of said, how are we gonna cut this out? Because from my understanding, Mauricio and Paulino were very effective in their last game, and I believe one or two of them scored. So to me, in my back of my head, I was like, be careful. Again, the thing I keep saying is Caldwell covered very, very well at the back in the 70th minute to make up for everything earlier. As the game went on, I noticed Palmeiras just kept on pressing. They even got a free kick. Actually, no. It was Palmer that got a free kick in the 70th minute, and they actually hit the wall. Honestly, Palmeiras played a complete game. The only unfortunate thing that I noticed that did happen was when Gusto took that shot and it took a deflection off the Palmeiras goalkeeper. I know he's hurting because of that. Like, I know, like, because it was such a tight game. I believe his name was Weaverton. Don't worry, man, it happens. It's life. But as I will always say, shout out to Chelsea. Up to Chelsea. Up to Chelsea. We're on to the next round. We won. I also noticed, let's not forget, in the 85th minute, they brought in a guy named Vega. And for those of you who remember the 2021 FIFA Club World Cup final, he actually scored against Toronto. He actually scored against Chelsea. So they figured bringing him in would help, but it actually didn't. Caldwell got a second yellow card, so unfortunately he's going to miss the next match. But guess what? Moses Caicedo is coming back. So that's a positive right there. What I will also say is shout out to Santos. He really handled himself, considering there was an injury to James Wright during how how do you call it, during the warm-up. So guys were able to cover up very well. Weaverton, I gotta give a big shout out to the goalkeeper for Palmeiras. He actually saved Madueke and Joao Pedro's shots. But let me just leave you with one more thing. Chelsea has advanced to the semifinals, and we're gonna be facing former Chelsea player Thiago Silva. That game against Fluminense won't be easy, but I think Chelsea will definitely do their thing. But hey, this is number one blogger. Make sure you guys like and comment and subscribe to my community. And remember, you can't spell Palmeiras without Palmer. Number one blogger. I am out.